Okay.
Oh, good. Okay. Wait, yeah, maybe we could, like, lean it. Oh, God. Okay, hi.
Miller. There we go.
Okay.
That's much better.
So back to the story. Part 3. No. So our one manager, really nice guy, ended up getting fired. But one day when I was with him in the freezer, like, I often needed his help because the boxes were sometimes, like, for some reason really heavy. Like, some days I would have, like, trouble with them, and then other days I was like, okay.
Or they were, like, too hard to reach.
I don't know. I had problems with the cookie boxes. So I had him oftentimes come in to help me. And one time, they were, like, stacked to the ceiling, and they were tilting, and if you moved one the wrong way, everything would collapse.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah, it was kind of terrifying. So you never knew, like, what was going to happen, and I didn't want to die there. That would have been sad. So I had him, like, come in and help me, and I brought in, like, this table, which was basically, like, a table on wheels, and it had, like, a little handle, and you could, like, pull it. So I would bring that in there and load up, like, 5 or 6 boxes of cookies to bring out and, you know, set up the cookies and bake them or whatever. So I had him come in with me to grab the boxes for me.
What time should I wake you up?
I don't know, whenever we need to leave.
Oh, we gotta leave here about 9:15.
Okay. So wake me up at like 9. I'll set my alarm, but...
Okay.
My mom popping in. Hi. So... Something happened with the box. He ended up, like, throwing it, and it slid across the table, and it went flying, like, out the door, and he was like, yeehaw, like...
Yeah,
with
he
his
did
cowboy
that a lot.
moments.
He dropped things a lot.
He was a mess.
But he was the best.
He was good people. No, he was, like, great.
Yeah.
We liked him. So basically, that's our ShopRite story.
Yeah. It was interesting. Oh, also, like, there were certain, like, customers that, like, if they ordered the same thing a lot, we would call them...
The fucking customers.
Okay.
There's 2 off the top of my head.
Okay, the
Tiramisu lady.
Tiramisu lady was this, like, really short, elderly woman who was missing most of her teeth, and she would always order 2 slices of tiramisu, so I went to go put them in a box.
Packaged separately.
But I couldn't understand her when she said packaged separately. All I heard was, like, 2 slices of tiramisu, so I put them in a box, and then she was like, separately, and I had to have her repeat it about 5 times because I couldn't understand her. Like, she couldn't enunciate because she had, like, no teeth. And,
This lady literally looked like she was gonna, like, she was, like, halfway in the grave.
Wait, actually, it was so bad because I was on Facebook one day and there was, like, this photo of, like, something that someone said was, like, the ugliest dog in the world or something, and it looked like her. And I, like, showed all my coworkers and they all agreed. But it was great.
No, but one time, I mean, I dealt with her, like, too much.
We all did.
But one time, like, for some reason, I just didn't feel like packing them separately for some reason.
You said we didn't. Oh
yeah, God. Like, I was like, she was like, packaged separately, and I had already put them in the package, already printed out the label, and I was, like, not unpackaging them and, like, putting them. I don't know why I didn't feel like packaging them separately. I was just, like, over it. And I was like, we don't have, like, separate containers. Like, sorry. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, take it like this. And she was, like, insisting that I, like, package it separately. And I was just like, no. Like, I was, like, so over her, like, shit at that point. Like, I was just like, you know, I'm sorry. Like, I was trying to be nice about it, but at the same time, I was like, just leave. Like, she was terrible. There was
her. There was, like, this one really nice lady who always came
I liked her.
To ask for Linzer tarts. She was really nice. She was, like, a total
I'm thinking of the bread lady.
Oh, the bread lady. Yeah, there's another lady who also had
lady. I think she was British.
Severe lack of teeth.
No, but I'm pretty sure she was British. She had an accent.
I don't know.
She was, like, a real sweet lady. Heavier lady, older lady. She would always get her fresh bread slice. She would either get, like, the Corona or the rye. And then she would, like, always look at the pastry case, and every time she would always ask, like, the individual cake slices, like, what was what and, like, what it was. And then she'd be like, I shouldn't get it, like, I'm diabetic or something. And I was like, oh. Or she'd, like, want a cake, like, for herself. Like, she was, like, there was, like, nothing going on. She just, like, wanted a full cake, like.
I mean, I feel that.
Yeah, but she was like, no, like, I shouldn't. But she would always, like, look at the whole pastry case and, like, ask what, like, everything was. Like, I mean, I didn't really mind because she was actually, like, sweet, but the Linzer tart lady, was that, like, the middle-aged lady that was really heavy?
Yeah.
But Sergio, like, loved her. And,
yeah.
like, she loved him.
She
was like,
loved
she was
Sergio.
like, where's Sergio? Like, she would always ask where he was, because whenever she was there, he was, like,
always,
never
like, her
around.
And I think her dad.
Yeah.
And she was like, I need to get all the Linzer tarts. And he would always have, like, the actual cookie part ready to just fill for her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Or if there wasn't, he would be like, oh, we'll make it, and somehow it would,
like, come back in half an hour.
And this was at, like, 7 o'clock at night, like...
Like, no one had time for anything, but he would always make her Linzer tarts.
Yeah, and she would buy, like... They came, like, 2 in a package, and she'd
buy, like, 4.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, people and their Linzer tarts. And we didn't have those often. That was, like, only if they were on sale, or if someone, like, randomly made them. Yeah. Like, that wasn't, like, a regular thing, so when we had it, they usually, like, went pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then, like, they didn't... Even if they were on sale, like, if we had, like, a store sale, like, cookies were on sale a lot, or pies, like, we would need to make sure we always had them out. Because, like, you know, then customers would complain or whatnot. But, like, the Linzer tarts, for some reason, like, if they were on sale, like, once they were gone, they wouldn't really, like... restock them, or like it wasn't like as big of a deal, I feel like. And like sometimes people would say something, but like I don't know, like nobody cared. I don't know why.
But people were always really excited to see the Linzer tarts.
Yeah, like the older crowd, because I don't know, I'm not a huge Linzer fan. They're okay, but like they're not my fave.
I like them, but yeah, no. There was also this one guy who always came in, like I call him Semolina guy because that's all he ordered was the fresh baked semolina bread, and he always ordered that. And one time, like, he just walked up to the counter, and I was like, Semolina, and he was like, you remembered.
Oh,
like,
was that people... the kind of weird guy with, like, the longer-ish
he
hair?
He had, like, long hair. He basically looked like Lin-Manuel Miranda, if you guys know who that is, the guy who wrote Hamilton and Moana, like, the music for that.
Oh, yeah, wait, did he have an accent, like an Italian accent?
Kind of.
I remember one
but do you know
day,
what
and he
I'm
always got bread. I think
he always got semolina.
Yeah.
Except at one point, one day he came in and they didn't have the semolina, so he got something else. And then, like, after that, whenever he would come in, he started ordering Corona, and it, like, really fucked me up because I knew him as Semolina guy. Like, it just, like, ruined everything. I was like, no!
Yeah.
Because one day he came in and he was like, they don't have my bread, because he knew that I knew what he was talking about. And then, like, he changed his bread, and I was like, what?
We also had this other guy who, like, maybe you didn't know him, but, like, because he always came in, like, the mornings, and I knew him because he worked at the camp I used to go to. He was, like, the head lifeguard guy. He's probably in, like, his 40s, maybe, like, early 50s. I don't know, he was kind of heavier, so it was, like, hard to tell. But he actually used to be, like, a few 100 pounds heavier, but he ended up losing a bunch of weight. Like, he was still heavy, but not too bad. And he would always come in and, like, get, like, Corona or, like, rye bread with, like, one of his daughters or both of them. And, like, I was always just, like, I, like, wanted to say something because I knew who he was, but I'm pretty sure he, like, he didn't know who I was. Because he would never be like, oh, like, hey, how's it going? But, like, I knew who he was, and I was just, like... the memories. And
the one time I saw my mechanic there. Actually, I helped him a few times. It was cool. But yeah,
just... that was always fun when I saw him.
All the friggin' bread people. There was also, like... there was this one guy, John, would always get 2 loaves of, like... I don't know if it was, like, the onion rye or the seeded rye. He would always get, like, 2 loaves. And one guy who would keep coming in, but he's like, I want bread, but, like, I can't have anything with seeds. No seeds can be touching, because I have, like, this condition where, like, there are, like, pockets in the inside of your mouth, and it can get stuck, and you have to have it, like, removed by a I don't know, it was some weird shit. But I remember one day I was just in a really bad mood, and the one, like, new baker guy told me, he was like, you know what, go help that customer, go slice some bread. It's a real great stress reliever.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's Jesus.
Also, that just reminded me of one customer. I would have, like, this really nice, like, older guy, and, like, every time I would slice the bread for him, he would, like, have me give him, like, the end piece.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
He
sweet. Always had, like, the cap on.
Yeah, he was a sweet guy.
Yeah.
I liked him. But then there were, like, the terrible customers, like we already talked about, and then there was this other guy who just, like, annoyed me. Like, he always wanted, like, the frozen Bialys, and he always wanted, like, a dozen, and I would have to go in the freezer and, like, search through the boxes, and, like, the friggin' plastic bags would always rip, I think from, like, being in the freezer. I don't know, I remember trying to put in, like, 6, and the bag just ripped, and they all fell on the floor.
They ripped because they were shitty bags, because the Jansons were cheap. They were terrible.
America.
No, they were cheap, and they didn't want to pay for bags that would actually hold the shit that they were meant to hold.
Yeah, but this guy, like, the guy himself was nice, but it was just, like, the fact that I knew when I saw him I was gonna have to go in the freezer and, like, probably go, like, lift up 5, like, 50-pound boxes just to get to, like, Bialys to give him. Like, he needed them frozen, like, go in the case and like, they're already
and, like,
made.
To even get into the freezer was a disaster in the first place, because there were, like, 500, like, U-boats, which... Not the German U-boats, like, literally, like, these, like, I don't even know how to say what they are, but they, like, carried, like, boxes. They were these thin, long things, and I guess they call it the U-boat because there was a handle on each end, like a long handle, so it kind of looked like a block U.
And then it had wheels on the bottom, so you can, like, move it, you know, where you need it to go.
You could never really move, because there was so much shit in there.
Oh my god.
And, as far as that, terrible. Yeah, I had to help the Bialy guy. There was also a lady, and she was, like, literally the only person the only customer who ever asked for this product. We had frozen Portuguese rolls. Another thing that you could get that you could just get fully baked out in the cases. She wanted the frozen ones, and she always wanted the frozen ones, and I was so over it.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone else.
I never wanted to get these stupid frozen, like, Portuguese rolls, but I always did it, and one time I was, like, so busy, I was trying to get all these products out onto the shelves, because I was getting yelled at, like, put these out faster, and so I'm trying to print out tickets, and I have one customer I'm trying to help now, because they showed up, and I'm trying to help, and I see this lady walk up out of the corner of my eye. I hand that customer their thing, I run into the freezer, I come back out and just hand her a bag, and then I help the next person, and I keep going. And she's like, wow, you must have saw me coming. Like, no shit, lady, you order the same thing every week. You're the only person who asks for this, and I'm just tired of it. Obviously, yeah. I didn't say that. I'm more professional than that, but, like...
The customers were a lot.
Yeah.
Most of them
were... Okay.
I liked, like, I didn't have a problem with, but there were, like, those select
The worst were the people who were ordering cakes, because either they didn't know what they were ordering because they didn't know what they wanted, or because if it was a cake for someone else, oh, I don't know what flavors they like, but I came here to order them something they're gonna have to eat.
There were literally times...
Or you'd write on it, and they'd be like, I don't like the way that's written.
When you would write on it?
No, actually that happened once. Someone asked for me to write Happy Thanksgiving, and I wrote it all in cursive, and it was beautiful and flowing and whatever, and she's like, I feel like that's too close together. It's a 7-inch cake. Of course it has to be close together. To write a long-ass word like Thanksgiving, like, it was still perfectly legible, and the guy looked at it, and he was like, it's fine, are you sure? And he was like, and I was like, I can fix it if you want, and the guy was like, just don't even bother, she's difficult. And I'm like, literally, shoot me.
Well, I think one of the first cakes I wrote on, it was a 7-inch, so small, and for some reason ShopRite seemed like even smaller. They were
those were small as shit.
They were doing too much. Like, they were like...
I think the shell borders they were using were too thick, for the size of the cake.
And then if they would do, like, a strawberry shortcake, like, forget about it, because like, the strawberry was, like...
The fucking worst was when people wanted you to write on a strawberry shortcake or on, like, a German chocolate. Anything that has, like, a raised ridge
Some of them
top.
were okay. And some of them also didn't have borders at the top, so it seemed a lot bigger than what it was. But one of the first cakes I ever wrote on, they wanted me to write, like, congratulations, and it was, like, a 7-inch cake, and, like, with, like, names and whatever, and I was just, like...
One lady had me put, like, 25 roses on. Like, I had to pipe roses to put onto their cake, and it was, like, 25, and then she wanted me to draw balloons on there. Like, I was sitting there, and Joe was like, after adding 4 roses, like, I tell them there's, like, a limit. Like, that's all I do. I don't do any more than that. Because literally, and she wanted them all in different colors. She wanted all of them in different colors. Like, I was about to kill this lady. Not really, but, like...
No, but...
Some of these people just get you so mad because you already have so much on your plate from, like, what the job, like, puts on you, that just, like, they keep adding more shit, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I hope it's not a bother, and of course, like, you have to do it, and you have to say, like, no, it's totally fine, but on the inside, you're like, I want to kill you, like, not even I want to kill myself when I'm there, like, this is some bad shit, this is, like...
Well, I remember with the congratulations cake, I think I got, like, really frazzled because it was, like, one of my first times, like, they were like, oh, like, the thing was, I didn't really, I mean, I went to school for baking and pastry arts, but, like, and there was a class, like, dedicated to cakes, but they really didn't teach you, like, writing on cakes, which is, like, the first thing we should have learned, like, that's, like, the most basic thing.
That was, like, in baking one, they had us do that once.
Yeah. Like... School story's coming later, but, or another time, because we don't have time for all that today. It's a trip. Okay. So, I didn't know, like, I knew how to write on a cake, but I wasn't comfortable doing it for, like, a customer and, like, having them, like, have that for, like, a birthday or, like, like, I was like, I don't want to do that, like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I would always have, the cake decorator do it.
Screaming. Thank you.
That's how we feel when we talk about chat, right? It just agitates us.
So I didn't feel comfortable writing on cake, so I would always ask, like, the cake decorator or, like, another coworker, like, who, you know, had more experience, whatever. But I always feel like the cake decorator especially would, like, get kind of annoyed because he was already, like, super busy. So one day I was just like, screw it, like, I'm just gonna write on a cake. Like, I just had to, like, teach myself. And that was, like, one of the first cakes I did. It was, like, they wanted, like, congratulations on a 7-inch cake, which I ended up, like, learning how to write smaller so I could fit it. But I actually ended up, like, going up to this customer and being like, is it okay if I just put, like, congrats? Like, because I was, like, really overwhelmed, and it was, like, not my first cake, but one of my first, and it was small, and, like, congratulations is, like, a long word to fit on a 7-inch cake, and I didn't know how to, like, you know, write smaller. Yeah, they were, like, really chill about it, thank God, because sometimes customers could be, like, really, like...
particular?
Yeah, and just, like, rude about, like, how they are, but they were, like, chill about it, so I was like, thank God. And it ended up being fine. And my writing actually did get, like, pretty good, I think, for, like, kind of just having to learn on, like, the spot and just, like, do it. And then, you know, but I felt good every time a customer would come, and, you know, I wouldn't have to bother another coworker who was, like, already busy doing something. I could just kind of, like, take care of it. And then Jen ended up, like, asking me to do it because she didn't know, and obviously, like, she didn't want to learn anyway, so.
Oh, yeah, she would tell me all the time. She's like, on the days where she would work a little bit later and I was closing, she would be like, can you just, like, handle the people who are, you know, asking for things to be written on? Because she just didn't know how.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, you know, and usually they would always say, like, it looked nice, so, like, you know, that was good that they liked how it looked, because sometimes I was like, oh, it could be a little more, like, centered, or, you know, whatever. It takes time to, like, learn how to do all that shit, especially with all, like, the different sizes they have, and, you know, depending on, like, what they wanted. Some people wanted, like, 4 names, and, like, it was a lot.
Yeah, I feel like some people were kind of like, this is, like, what you did, and then some people were like, oh my god, that's beautiful, you did such a good job.
Yeah. Like, some people were, like, more impressed, and some people were kind of just like, okay, like... And they didn't seem, like, appreciative, and I was just like, Rude.
It's like, then write it yourself. See how good you do.
But also, sometimes it also depended on the piping bags. Because some of them, like, most of them were good. Like, the ones in, like, the plastic
The ones that were
disposable
actual
bags.
piping bags.
The ones that, like, Joe made himself often ended up getting, like...
Like the parchment ones?
Yeah.
Those are terrible.
And they would get, like, stuck, and then, like, a bunch would come out at once, and it was just, like...
Yeah, because you'd have to, like, cut the tip off.
Yeah.
Because it was, like...
It was a bad situation. Yeah. So those... Sometimes it got kind of messy, where I would actually have to take, like, an offset and, like, clear it and, like, redo it to make it better, because I didn't want to, like, present that to somebody. It happened a couple times. Or it was, like, watery. The piping bags. But that's also, like, a factor, definitely. That's, like, if you don't have a good piping bag with, like, good, like, icing in it, like, you're not gonna get, like, a good result.
Exhibit A, me trying to pipe pat a shoe tonight with a tip and it didn't work, and then I took that out and just used the bag by itself, and it came out a lot better.
Yeah. But that was also because of the plastic bag. If you would have just had a tip in an actual piping bag, it would have been fine. I don't know, for some reason...
I feel like pat a shoe sometimes is really difficult to pipe just because of the consistency.
No, but when I was at Audrey's and made it, like, we used tips. And it worked fine. But I think it's because I've used tips in plastic bags before, too, and it never works.
It's always fucked. We even tried taping it around to make sure the stuff didn't squeeze out the sides, but the bag just kind of, like, exploded. What?
Oh, I think your sister's calling.
I'm declining that.
No, but it... So overall, ShopRite was good and terrible.
That face.
I'm, like, hesitant.
Was good.
No, overall I'd say it was good. Also, the grand finale will be the flood story. Okay.
But also, can I just mention that one time I got a message from Travers? It was like my day off, and I got a message from her old manager, Travers, and it was literally like, Marissa, if you could come in today, you don't have to come in tomorrow. And it was like the funniest thing, because I like was not expecting to get a call from him ever. Because again, he managed the front end, and like I worked in the back.
But also,
so it was,
even
like,
though
weird.
he wasn't the store manager, he kind of like ran the whole store.
Yeah.
Like he knew what was like going on. Like I'm pretty sure he's been there for like at least 10 to 15 years. Like he just like knows. Like he's still there. I see him whenever I go. I'm like, hey, Travers.
And he's like, hi, dear.
Yeah. And he, like, punches you. Like he, like,
does.
I think he means to, like, just tap
not
you
even,
on the shoulder,
not even,
but he,
like,
whacks
punches.
you.
He, like, smacks
yeah.
you.
Like, and I think he, like, obviously
Shit
he doesn't
bruises.
mean it, but maybe it's because he's, like, so buff. I don't know, but, like, it's intense. Like, I'm anemic. Like, I bruise easy. Like, please don't. I'm just like, oh, God, like, shielding myself. No. But the flood story. This is like, hey, Arnold, the flood.
Oh, my God.
Okay. So we're hanging out as we do, like, every day. But back then, even, like, more so.
Oh, my God.
Like, when we first started college and stuff, because, like, all our other friends, like, went away to school, so we pretty much, like, just had each other.
It was, like, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every week.
And we would, like, always bake shit, like...
Yeah.
Baking adventures coming.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, we went to ShopRite to get, like, brownie mix and, like, other food things. I think I had my period or something. I don't know what happened. And at that time, I think we were, like, on the same cycle sometimes.
Well, that's because we hung out that much.
Yeah, so, like, we would always have our periods at the
we'd
same time. Yeah, like, synchronized or whatever. So we went to ShopRite, and there was, like, a few fire trucks out front. Like, 2, I think. Maybe 3. But there was, like, the lights were going, and I was like, what is going on? And it was, like, 8 o'clock at night or something. And I never worked nights. I always worked in the day, so I was, like, confused. And then I went in, and we were down by, like, ice cream. And there was, like, water all over the floor. And, like, I don't know, like, what happened.
I
like,
think they said a pipe burst, and it was over by dairy. And that's, like, when you walk in, that's all the way to the right of the store.
Yeah.
And basically, like, 4 aisles got flooded. Like, dairy into frozen section. The whole thing was flooded.
Yeah, and my manager, like, Rose was there, and she's like trying to clean up like a 4-aisle plus flood with like paper towels. She's like, can you get me some more paper towels? Like, she has like a roll. She's like looking for more. Like, I don't know what happened because we ended up leaving because it was just a mess. But like, it was kind of scary. Like, when
we were like, are we allowed to go in? And some guy who was like wheeling carts, he was like, yeah, you can go in. And then we just see Rose. Can you get me paper towels? And
no, I think it was like, we asked like a firefighter.
That wasn't a firefighter.
I remember talking to a firefighter. I was like, what's going on?
I think eventually later, but while we were still like in the parking lot portion, there was like some guy like with carts and stuff. And then we got up closer, like, can we go in? And the guy was like, yeah.
But I remember we sat in my car for a few minutes because we were like, what's going on? And there was a bunch of firefighters by the door, and I was like, no. Like, what's happening?
Are the brownies worth it? Yes.
And then we were like, alright, let's just like try to go in. Also, it was late, so there weren't like a lot of people, you know, going in and coming out. So I was like, what's happening? Like, I didn't see anyone going in, so I was like, is it safe? And then we went in and discovered it was a flood, and like my manager's trying to like clean it up with paper towels. It was just like a mess.
So dumb.
Yeah. So that's like our memory of her.
She'll never live that down.
Yeah. At least from us. Did Brian work there back then? Does he remember the Great Flood?
I think I brought that up to him. Like,
ShopRite flood of
when
2013.
I first started talking to him back at St. Joe's, like, I think I asked him about that, and he was like, I think I remember that. He was like, how do you know? And I was like, I was there. Like, I lived through the Great Flood. Like, I sound like grandma, like 500 years.
Yeah.
Have gone by, and I'm like, yeah, I've been here since the flood.
The Great Flood of 2013. Was that 2013 or 14? I think it was
That had to have been 13, because, like I said, that was, like, I told him about that in 2014, like, my second year of college.
Yeah, okay, yeah, so it was definitely 2013.
That was, like, right after we graduated.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
I was already working there, probably worked earlier that day. Terrible. No, but just the worst.
The one time we forgot oil, we ended up going to ShopRite, like, 3 times in one day.
Like, first we needed one thing, then, like, some other shit happened, then we didn't have oil, like, we were just dumb. I don't know why we didn't just look at...
Well, no, I think we knew we didn't have oil, but we forgot it anyway. And we had to go back.
That sounds right. We're just a mess, help us. Okay.
Someone send help.
Okay. That's it.
It'll be like Mr. Kakashko with his raft. And some paper towels.
Terrible. Okay, bye.
Bye.